So I'm going to explain to you why you should never, ever, ever use one of these form sites to draft or construct a will, because it can just cause an incredible amount of heartache, pain, probate litigation, and absolutely not comply with what you think you're doing in a will. And it comes to me with an example that's literally hot on my desk right now. So guy comes in absolutely distraught because if the will that's been filed with the court is admitted, he's going to be absolutely homeless. Elderly person, devastated, distraught, going to have nothing because a will that had been presented as the last will and testament completely cut the guy out. Now, right away, things didn't add up. You're sitting there holding on to the paper, and names are a little funky, dates are a little funky. Everything's just a little bit off. And I can only say that after 25 years of doing this, you just get a feel for things. Your spidey sense starts to pick up. And another thing after years or decades of doing this stuff is that there's no substitute for just grinding away, for obsessing over a piece of paper, for keeping it on your desk, for holding it there for a little bit, for looking at it, talking about it with other people, and then again, just grinding and grinding away. So I'm doing that. I had gone into the docket, printed this thing up, and I'm looking at it over and over again and reading it over and over again and thinking about it in my sleep and at nighttime. And there were clearly things wrong with it, but proving that stuff up, did the person have the intent to sign the will? Were the witnesses correct? Was the notary correct? All these things that on the face of it are problematic. But I kept digging into it more and reading the language more and more carefully, and then a light bulb went off. And that's where this problem of pre-printed wills really smacked me straight in the face. There is this Supreme Court opinion, Aldrich versus Basile, 136 Southern 3rd, 630. And it is a warning to lawyers that do probate, to citizens that might go and use one of these firms or things to fill out wills, and all of us. And the case stands to the proposition that if you have a will and it says I'm going to go and leave something to Bobby and something to Jimmy, but it doesn't dispose of everything, and then you come along later and you got a lot more, but the will doesn't clearly say who gets everything, then the whole will gets thrown out. And I want you to think about this if you're a probate practitioner, because we've all seen these wills. They're pre-printed forms. They've got the names down at the bottom of them, and we've all had clients that come in and they've done these wills. And sometimes they're done correctly with the witnesses and the notary and all that stuff, but oftentimes they're a mess and it can get thrown out in that way. But I certainly know that there are practitioners out there who have submitted wills that don't have this clause in there. And there are practitioners that have been in estates that missed the opportunity to have a bad will thrown out because of this concept of the will not having the terms that the Florida Supreme Court said that it needed to have in this 2014 case. And I love that the Supreme Court goes and pulls apart the will and how this guy had drafted it, making his intentions very clear in some respects, but completely silent as to what happened to all the stuff, hundreds of thousands of dollars that the guy had generated after the fact. And that really was the issue. And here it says that the unfortunate result stems not from the court's interpretation of law, but from the fact that Aldrich wrote her will using a commercially available form which did not adequately address her specific needs, apparently without obtaining any legal advice. So we're going to see this over and over again. People that have done wills that are not done properly, hell, there are going to be wills that are done in an attorney's office that don't have these detail in there. It's an example of the only way to successfully operate probate is to do it slowly, carefully, and with a keen attention to detail.